Hello Year 9, welcome back to your home learning lesson 3. Again, it's on physical description, description physique. For today's lesson, you will need the exercise book that the school gave you, a pen and a ruler, your knowledge organizer for module 5, which can be opened in a tab on your computer, and wordreference.com can be opened on another tab on your computer to look up any words that you are not sure about. Please remember to email me if you have any questions at all about the activities in this lesson, or if you want to receive an achievement point on catkinson@wokinghigh.surrey.sch.uk. Pause now if you need to go and get all of that equipment, and make sure you write down my email address if you don't know it already. And then press play to continue. And so now, as you're familiar with presentation, write the date in the top right-hand corner, vendredi 24 avril, and the title Description physique, physical description, and the objective, l'objectif, to describe yourself and other people using être. Pause now to write those down and underline the date and title. Okay, now for your do now activity. Pour commencer, traduire. So to start with, you're going to translate. Your do now activity is 5 minutes long, and I want you to translate the following sentences into French. So copy them out in English and then write the French next to them. Press pause and then press play when you're ready with your answers to mark them. Okay, let's mark these now for you. So, I have curly hair is j'ai les cheveux bouclés or frisés. Okay, so bouclés are larger curls. Frisés are really small, tiny curls. Numéro 2. I have grey eyes. J'ai les yeux gris. 3. I do not have a beard. Je n'ai pas de barbe. Okay, I hope you wrote de down there. If you did, that's great. If you wrote un or une, then you must change it to de, because when it's negative, you have to say, I do not have a beard. I don't have any beard. And the de is like the any. Okay, numéro 4. My father has short and dark brown hair. Mon père a les cheveux bruns et courts. The colour always comes first in hair description. So always the hair colour and then the description after. Numéro 5. My mother and I have long blonde hair. Ma mère et moi avons les cheveux blancs et longs. Remember, colour first and then length and description of hair afterwards always. Fantastic job. Okay, if you got all of those correct, you've done an excellent job. Now I'm going to pass on to Mr. Bowles, who's going to teach the rest of the lesson. Please email me all your fantastic photos of your work, and then you'll get achievement points. I look forward to lesson 4 with you shortly. Au revoir.
So let's start today's lesson. If you remember, our lesson today is about describing yourself again, but we're looking at adjectives today. I'm going to go through a series of short phrases. What I want you to do, I just want you to repeat them after me. Je suis petit. Je suis petite. Je suis grand. Je suis grande. Je suis beau. Je suis belle. Je suis jolie. Je suis jolie. Je suis mince. Je suis timide. Okay, good work. Now what I want you to do, I want you to write down those sentences in your exercise book, all of them, and then match it up with the English. You can now press pause, and when you're ready to continue with the lesson, press play again. So for next slide, I want you to take correction on what you've done, just making sure that everything match up together. So je suis petit, I am short, masculine, je suis petite, I am short, feminine. please take a minute to go through your work, making sure that you've got exactly the same on the slide there as you've got in your exercise book. Okay, before we move on to the next activity, I want you to start paying attention to a few things on this slide. First thing is, I've written some words in blue, others in red. And those words are all adjectives. Well done for remembering it. So they're all adjectives, they're all describing the person who is talking, the person describing themselves. Now you would have noticed that je suis petit and je suis petite, even though you added an E at the end of petite, the pronunciation changes quite a lot. Then you've got grand and grande, which the pronunciation again changes. For the last two words, je suis mince and je suis timide, the pronunciation doesn't change whether it's masculine or feminine, and that's because you already have an E at the end. So that's what I want you to start paying attention to, and that's what we'll be talking about during the whole lesson today. So for your next activity, I want you, it says there 10 minutes, but to be honest, some of you could do it in 3 or 4 minutes because those adjectives, you know them very well already. But please take the time to learn them, to practice them, to write them on a piece of paper, and you can now press pause, and when you press play again, I'll be testing you just to check that you know those words. So as promised, and let's do a quick test on this. I'm going to read you either the French or the English. Just say the correct answer after me. I am beautiful. Je suis beau. Well done. Je suis grand. I am tall. Je suis petit. I am short. I am slender or slim. Je suis mince. Très bien. I am short. Je suis petite. Well done for pronouncing that T and that E at the end. I am tall. Je suis grande. Je suis belle. I am beautiful. This time the feminine version. Je suis timide. I am shy. Well done. I am handsome. Je suis jolie. And the last one. I am pretty. Je suis jolie. Good work if you've got them all right. Okay, our next activity, we're starting to look at adjectival agreement. Now, adjectival agreement means that whatever you're talking about needs to agree altogether. Let me give you an example to make it clearer. So for number one, for the first box, you've got je suis there, which means I am, you know that. And je suis, if je is masculine, can go with petit, grand, gros, agaçant, laid, bavard, intelligent, which is the third column there. It can also go with mince, égoïste, beau, and jaloux. All those adjectives in those, well, in column 3 and in column 5 are masculine. And that's very important to pay attention to because we're going to see 3 more different slides that are going to start shaking things a bit. Let me also talk to you about the second column where you've got intensifiers like very, really, quite, little, and connectives as well in the middle, which are always useful to use when you're using adjectives instead of making a long list of adjectives. So we talked about je suis and that everything was masculine. Mon frère est, also everything will be masculine because my brother will always be masculine. And the negative will be mon frère n'est pas. Knowing that, let's talk a bit about plural. The first column, you've got the same phrases at the top, but at the bottom, for the second line, I've added some more sentences. Like mon père et moi sommes, mon père et moi ne sommes pas, mes frères sont, mes frères ne sont pas. The second column, I've left it exactly the same. The third column, you've got the same list of adjectives at the top, but at the bottom, can you all spot what's different? Yes, I've added S's at the end. However, the pronunciation is not going to change at all. So petit, grand, gros, agaçant, laid, bavard, intelligent are exactly the same whether you say them at the top or at the bottom. It is the same for the last column, but those adjectives are irregular, and they are irregular because you're going to see that as we go along, they're going to start changing or become different. They still pronounce the same though, whether they're masculine or feminine. So they're mince, égoïste, beau, jaloux, and nothing else. Let's add one more line. Now this time we're adding feminine versions of those adjectives. So if you look at the first line and the third line, je suis is still there. So je suis and je ne suis pas is there. But this time je could be it has to be somebody else for the bottom line. Je has to be somebody feminine. And the pronunciation is going to change. You're going to say je suis petite, grande, grosse, agaçante, laide, bavarde, intelligente. So all those last letters, which we were not pronouncing so far when they were masculine words, we now have to pronounce them, just like we saw in our first activity. For the last column, mince is still going to be the same, égoïste is going to be the same, beau becomes belle, like we saw earlier, jaloux, jalouse, so that X has gone and we put an S and an E. That's for you to pay attention to. The last line we need to talk about is feminine and plural. So just like we did mon père et moi, we're now adding ma mère et moi. And this time the moi has to be somebody feminine so that the whole phrase is feminine. So ma mère et moi sommes, ma mère et moi ne sommes pas, mes sœurs sont, mes sœurs ne sont pas. The pronunciation is going to be exactly the same as the box above. So it's still petite, it's still grande, grosse, agaçante, laide, bavarde, intelligente. But this time we haven't pronounced any of the S's, just like we did when we were talking about the masculine adjectives. The last column as well is exactly the same as between the feminine singular and feminine plural. So just to recap, the first line, your light blue color, are all masculine and singular. Your second line, the darker blue color, they're masculine and plural. The third line, the pink color, is singular and feminine adjectives. And the last line, the darker pink color, are feminine and plural adjectives. I hope it makes sense, but if you're still a bit shaky about it, or if you're not sure, don't worry, because now we're going to some practice activities. And the first practice that we are going to do are writing down 10 sentences in our exercise book that I'm going to read you. So make sure you've got your exercise book open in front of you and take a pen. If you're not ready, pause the video and then press play when you are. So let's make a start. Number 1. Je suis très petit et beau. Je suis très petit et beau. Number 2. Je ne suis pas gros, mais je suis beau. Je ne suis pas gros, mais je suis beau. Remember, they can pause at any time. Number 3. Mon frère n'est pas vraiment bavard et mince. Mon frère n'est pas vraiment bavard et mince. Number 4. This time, I'm reading you the English. I want you to write down the French in the exercise book. My father and I are very tall and selfish. My father and I are very tall and selfish. And number 5. My brothers are not... Let me start number 5 again. My brothers are not very clever and jealous. My brothers are not very clever and jealous. You'll see in a minute why I hesitated a bit there. Number 6. I'm reading the French again. I want you to write down the French. Je suis assez grande et très belle. Je suis assez grande et très belle. Number 7. Ma sœur est agaçante et égoïste. Ma sœur est agaçante et égoïste. Number 8. Ma mère et moi sommes assez petites et belles. Ma mère et moi sommes assez petites et belles. Now I'm reading you the English. I want you to write down the French in your exercise book. Number 9. My sisters are very big and very jealous. My sisters are very big and very jealous. Number 10. My sisters are not clever and really selfish. My sisters are not clever and very selfish.